Hey, back in the kitchen, right? Yeah, this is definitely better than Mendo Longi's, man. This beat's hard. My favorite beat, maybe, on Massacre. Real shit. Keep it moving. Basically, fucking love this beat. I saw something again very recently where Redman was talking to Just Blaze, and he was saying how he's still going on about how he doesn't like There's a Dark Side, which I think is actually really interesting. Never seen something like this in rap, really. I know that Redman doesn't like this album, but he's really sticking to that. Like, he never performs it, and I think, and it's funny in a way, he's sitting on a freaking gold mine. Like, if Redman ever did a There's a Dark Side like B-side concert, I think he'd be surprised at how popular that shit is. And you know what? Casuals will probably buy that shit fast, and those of us who've been listening to it for a long time probably wouldn't be able to afford it. But that's beside the point. It's his best album to me, man. Like, I listen to this shit, and I'm like, basically, we run New York. I mean, bob your head to this, Rockefeller. Like, I think the beats are nuts. The rhymes are dope. It's just, it's such a different style, you know? And it's interesting. I think I've talked about this before about how I got into Redman on Doc's the Name. That's when I first heard Redman. And so basically, you know, I'll be that, you know, that's the era. In fact, I think that's the very first Redman song I ever heard. And I was like, what is this? This is hilarious. I heard it playing at a record shop. I've talked about this. I was in Cyprus and somebody was playing it in the background. And I was like, what is this song? This song is hilarious. It's fire. And bought the tape right there. Just like, didn't even think twice about it. And I've been a Redman fan ever since, you know? But as good as that was, there's a dark side, man. That's that raw shit. Hard. Anyway, keep it moving. You know what's funny? Somehow, I was listening to this beat and it just hit me really hard yesterday. I mean, I like the song. You know what I mean? I've always known this is one of the standout songs on Murder Music. But yeah, man, I was listening to this over and over again as I was working on some Bloodworld shit. Bloodworld. By the way, unfortunately, the campaign, you know, didn't really work out. So it's life, but it's still coming. Don't worry, I'm working on it, man. We're gonna figure out a way to get Bloodworld made into, you know, into some shit. So, like I said, it's a lifelong project. So it's one of those things that, you know, ultimately I may launch another campaign after I do a little bit more sort of development, promotion, all that shit. But you know, I'm still going with this hard shit. Anyway, so I was working on it. And as I've told you before, these are the kind of things that inspire me. I'm a big Havoc fan. So I'm sitting there listening to this, and I don't know how I came across this song, but I was like, damn, this beat is freaking phenomenal. And it's different, typically, from what Havoc would do, actually. Yeah, man. You know, to me, and this is just my opinion, I never really liked the song itself. I don't hate the song. I think it's a very good song, but I didn't really think that Prodigy really killed it. The chorus is dope, but his verses to me were kind of like, eh. My favorite verse on this entire song by far is the last one, where he's like, bent niggas crushing and divide is havoc. Actually, to me, really was the one that I think hit the soul of the beat. I mean, maybe because he produced it, I don't know. But even when he was like, you know, using all your money, use a fool for her, right? Think you're using her, but actually just losing her. And the song ends and you're like, whoa. You know? Like, I think he was going somewhere with that. So, but anyway, great song. Great song. I'm nitpicking, you know what I mean? These are artists that make great shit. That's the thing. Great shit, it lasts a long time. You can always have a different perspective on it because it hits you a certain way. This is why we say these guys are legends, man, and their music is legendary. It's not because of streams or some goofy shit, my dude. It's because the music itself was legendary. It's interesting. It has enormous replay value, right? You heard this 20 years ago, you liked it, you listened to it, you still listen to it all the time, or you might not listen to it for a little while, but you come back to it and you're like, oh my God, it hits. You know what I'm saying? It still has that replay value. So again, as I've said this many times in my video, if your shit don't have replay value, you're not a GOAT, you're not a legend. I don't care how marketed you are. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Anyways, you know what I say about a lot of these guys that I don't like that are famous. Their music has no replay value. That's why I don't like the shit. And I'm good at telling now. I know when some shit has replay value. You know what I mean? Real replay value, not like, I listen to it once a month or some shit. I'm talking about like, these are records that they come into your skin and shit because you've listened to them like thousands of times over the years. You know what I'm saying? It's different, man. It's a different level. Moving on. All right, let me let this rock a little bit. Shout out to QB. The Queens, all that, all right? So, let's talk about this. MC Solaar. Shout out to Antoine for doing this loop, by the way. If you haven't heard Pros Combat, you really need to hear this album, okay? The beats are ridiculous. The rhyming is amazing. It's just a ridiculous album. It's amazing. I was actually listening to and watching the video with the English translation. Remember when we were talking about, real quick, about how do you make rap that's hard but doesn't, have to be street? It's very possible, okay? People have been doing this. People did this before rap evolved into this gangster bullshit. And I say that as a fan of the gangster rap. I like different perspectives. The thing I like about gangster rap isn't necessarily the content. Remember, you know me as a beat and flow guy. So what I like about the more aggressive gangster rap is more because the beats to me were wilder. There was more energy, there was more passion, right? In the way that they rapped. And the shit that they were coming out with, it was like, some next level shit, like with the beats and shit. So that's why I liked it. It's not because they were talking about selling crack. I don't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Anything at the end of the day, if you make it interesting, I'll listen to it and I'll respect it. But ultimately, you can still make great hip hop and not talk about crime and not talk about street shit. MC Solaar, I think, proves this. I don't know French, but from what I understand, the dude never really rhymed about street activity, any of that shit. But this song, for example, the concubine de hemoglobine, which I think is like roughly translated to blood is the concubine of war or some shit. Like basically he's talking about bloodshed and how politicians use the army and how blood is this thing that like politicians love to spill in the hopes of obviously getting their cake up and things like that. So it's kind of like a examination on blood in general. And the translations that I saw were freaking brilliant. Like, I was like, whoa, this is some deep shit. You know what I'm saying? Beats hard, the flow's hard, like, that's rap. So, check out that album. Lastly, I was hanging out with my brother the other day.
What a story, Mike.
I've played this before, but I love this fucking beat, man. The track itself, I wasn't crazy about it, but for those of y'all who love this record, please tell me more because I didn't really particularly care for the beat. The actual rapping on it. I wish Playboy got it. I think Playboy would have done a better job, to be honest with you. But Pierre, of course, making classics, great shit. Peace.